Okay. Okay. So yeah. Um. All right. So, um, you guys already know. I've been playing the piano for like my whole life, like almost my entire life. Like some of my super duper earliest memories were involving the piano, and I play by ear, almost entirely. I can read notes at a very very bad level, so much lower than my ability to um, play by ear, such that I almost never ever do it. But it's definitely there, like because I did like learn a little bit, but my ear is like 20 times more powerful than my reading ability, maybe 100 times more powerful. Like my reading ability is really awful, but my ears, it's really really strong. Like not feeling myself, just being real. And I've had it. And I used to think I was born that way. I always thought I was born that way for a long time, and then I met this other person who has an ear that's almost as good as mine, if not better. And I was like impressed. It was the first time I ever met someone with an ear that strong. And I asked him like, was he born with it? And he was like, nah. I've just been training and practicing it, and I've gotten better at it. And it was like, what? For the first time, I'm meeting someone else that has this really really powerful ear, and they're like, no, I learned it later in life. For me, it was like this thing that I've had since young childhood, extremely young childhood. Like I said, since before I can remember. And and so it was like, well, so I guess this can be learned. And his ear is stupid. And so I started thinking about like where I've like developed like musically. Like on the piano, I feel like I'm the sharpest I've ever been in my life right now, which is really good. But I feel like there was a journey there that helped me get there. People always ask, like, where'd you learn, how'd you learn, and so on and so forth. And so I decided I'm gonna do this video and I'm gonna explain to people how I learned and where I learned, like in pretty decent detail, so that people can understand where I'm coming from. Because I've never felt like I had a good response to that statement. Like, where'd you learn? And it's like, well, how do I explain this to you? It's really weird. It's a really complex way of learning. But anyway, I'm gonna go. So it started out. Well, for one, my mom was a singer, right? She sang before I was born. Obviously, she had a really fantastic voice. I love like the tone of her voice. It was insane. She ended up getting like acid reflux, so it damaged like the tone quality, the like quality, the smoothness of her voice. But she can still obviously hold an amazing tune, great sound, and everything. But back in the day, it was an actual problem. Like one of the best voices I've ever heard, and she sang all the time since I was, while she was pregnant with me. She would sing. She would sing all the time. Like, so one of my earliest memories was like looking up, waking up one day, and she was like sitting there playing these songs on this record and singing along with them. Some Andre Crouch and some Evie, and just like she would always hit these really high notes. But anyway, so that was so I feel like I always was surrounded by music. My brother is a singer. My mom had musical instruments for almost every person in the house. All of my family, they all sing. They can at least hold a tune. We can all harmonize together, and I think it sounds pretty good if we ever do it. And so like I was surrounded by music. But when I was around, I want to say 2 or 3, my mom got a piano. So all of my siblings, she got instruments for. My oldest brother Rocket, she got like a snare drum, like a little mini drum set, whatever. My second brother, my oldest sister, that's who she got the piano. Like she wanted her to play the piano. She got her lessons and stuff. My second brother, he had an accordion. She bought an accordion for him, and he would play with the accordion. Then my next sister, Victoria, when we were young in elementary, she got her a violin. I want to say when she was probably in like the fifth or fourth grade. She got her a violin and she would play in like the elementary band. And then my brother, Johan, she got him a clarinet, but his voice is by far his best instrument. And I don't know what Mike would play. I think he might play the drums some. But either way, and then me, I didn't necessarily get an instrument, but you didn't have to because so my sister played the piano. She would take her to lessons, and my mom would take me with her to her piano lessons, and I would just be observing. And I was a very observant little kid. But the thing that my mom did that I think really pushed this thing forward, she got me this thing by Texas Instruments, which I'm going to show you right now. It's an amazing toy. It's called Lil Maestro. I always said Maestro. I didn't know how to pronounce it, obviously. And so what she did is it's this toy, and it basically goes through music. So it has like the scale, right? Like C to E. So that's an octave and 2 notes. That's what is that? I guess that's a ninth, I think. 11? I don't know. I'm awful. But so it has this thing. I'm gonna turn it on real quick. Let me see if I can get it working. Get it to work.
Hello, press the yellow key.
All right. So it has all these different games on there, right? So I'm gonna show you some of the simplest ones, right? So you have this thing called higher or lower, right?
High, low, level 1. Play a note.
So you play a note,
Now play a higher note.
and you play a higher note. You
Good.
can play any of the notes.
Play a note. Now play a lower note. Good. Play a note. Now play a lower note. Good. Play a
You just
note.
that was like one of the games, right? And I think you can change the level.
2. Listen to. Is higher or lower?
And so then you say higher.
Great. Listen to. Is higher or lower?
It's
Great.
lower.
Listen.
So then you got that, and then let me see where's 3.
Is
Let me see what level 3 is like.
higher or lower? Level 1. Play a note. Level 2. Level 1. Play.
Oh, it only
a
has 2
note.
levels. All right, so you have that game, right? Then you have this other one, learn.
Learn. Level 1. Play a note. Repeat that note. Good. Now play another note. Step lower. Great. Now play another note. Step higher. Good.
Right?
Now
It's
play
really simple. Hold on,
another
I'm gonna go to a
note.
higher level. Let me
Level
see.
2. Play a note. Level 3. Play a note. Step higher and then repeat that note and then step higher. Good. Now
This is crazy. I
play
don't remember this one.
another note. Step lower and then leap higher and then step lower. Great. Now play another
This is
note.
crazy.
Leap higher and then step lower and then step lower. Good. Now play another
This is
note.
crazy. I don't remember that version. I don't remember that specific one. There's another one here. This is the most important one, I think, right here.
Follow
Look.
me. Level 1. Play a note.
I'm gonna
Level
jump straight to
2,
level 3.
Play a note and then follow me. Level 3. Play a note and then
All right. This is
follow
where it makes sense. Watch. Hold on. So you play a note, right?
me. Now follow me. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Great. Let's try again. Play another note. Now follow me. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Good. Listen. Your tribe. Great.
All right.
Try
So
again.
this toy,
Another
I'm gonna turn it off now. But this toy, I would play this all the time as a little kid, right? My mom got them for us. She said they were $50. Now you know this is back in like 80 something, probably like smooth 87 or so to 88. And so this is like $50 toys, but you know, my mom, 7 kids by herself, it was gonna be rough, but she got them. And we got these toys, and so my mom, whenever like if anyone wanted to play with them, it was very very structured. Like, no, you're gonna sit right here and you're gonna play with it, because she didn't want us to break it or damage it or any of those things. She had that, the speak and spell, this math one. She had all these different little games. They were toys technically, but they were all really like instructional toys, and they would help. And so I started with this toy, and I'd play it all the time, and I didn't understand at the time like the correlation between this and the piano. I just knew that this was a game that I could play. So I always asked Mom, "Can I play this toy? Can I play my little maestro?" I thought it was mine, but it wasn't mine. It was, you know, all of my siblings. But I was the only one that played on it because the rest of them didn't really like it. It's not that they didn't like it. They just, you know, they were into other stuff. They would do other things. But I played with this a lot, and I don't think she ever thought of it, and they didn't think anything of it. It was just like, okay, this is a little toy that he likes to play with. But I was learning my ear at that point, and I guess some kind of way, subconsciously at this age, I made the correlation between this and music and following notes, because it had songs on there too that you can follow and play with it and all those things. And you can record and play, and then it would press playback and it would play back what you recorded. And so I would play with this all the time, but I would only play with one finger because this is what this toy, you know, how it is. And one day I went to my family. We had this. So my mom eventually rolled in the piano. Like, we had the piano, and I would go with my sister to her lessons, and I would just watch. And I remember one time, I must have been, I don't know, probably 3. But I remember one time I woke up, and my sister was on the piano, and she was playing this song. Really simple. She was playing that. And she played, you know, a few other little songs, but I remember distinctly looking out the window and seeing and hearing that song, and not knowing that it was coming from the piano downstairs. And then eventually I started walking downstairs, and I was looking at the stairs, and I was just watching her play the piano. And she was just sitting there playing, and I was looking. And then when she got off the piano, I remember thinking, oh, I want to play this piano. So I sat down at the piano, and I started messing with the keys, and I couldn't make the song, obviously, that she could make. So I was like frustrated. I remember being very annoyed that I couldn't play the music that I wanted to play, and so I walked away. Whatever. And I just continued playing with this toy, and then I'm not sure if my mom got this toy before or after that, but I do know this. One day I was at a family function. This is where it picks up. So I was at a family function. It was Thanksgiving, and they had like a little toy piano, like this big, and they had this musical. Doorbell. It would just play all these different songs. They had the doorbell would play that song, and they had a clock. That's crazy. They had a clock that would play that song, and then it would like start striking whatever hour it was. And so they had that toy. They had this toy piano, and I was playing with it, and they played the doorbell rang. And so when the doorbell rang, then I played that song with it, or I played it right afterwards. And then someone, I guess, noticed, and they looked, and they're like, "What's that? Did you just play that song?" And so they were like, "Press the doorbell again." So they pressed the doorbell, and I did it again. And so then they played it, and so then I played it, and they were like, "What is it?" Because you know I was probably like 3 years old at the time. And so then they were like, play another song from the doorbell. So they just started switching the songs that the doorbell would play, and every time they did, I would play it. And so then they were like, how is this kid? Like, you're just blowing their minds that, you know, some little 3-year-old is playing all these songs on the piano by ear. So I was, you know, a really tiny little kid. And so from that point on, my mom she wanted me to get lessons. I remember she took me to some music school, and I was going there, and they really wanted you to, like, so I would play songs and I'd play whatever they were doing, but they wanted you to learn with 2 hands, obviously, which I was kind of resistant to a little bit. Like, they wanted you to play bigger songs. They called them big boy songs, and I had to use multiple fingers. I remember one of them. And I remember this was my first that. But that was the first song I learned. I think where I really used two hands, and I would play it for hours because that was something I learned. But originally I would play whatever melodies I knew, and I just play them with one finger. And then one day this dude from our church came over, and he played the piano. He played like two songs, but he played this song. And I was like probably still 3, and I remember hearing that, and at the time I was just like, this is the most beautiful song I've ever heard in my life. I remember that was my song. I just wanted to learn it so badly, but again, it was just a two-handed song. But it was like, that was this crazy eye-opener of like, yo, you can just play like full songs, because up to that point I only really had the concept of melody. That was it. Just you play the melody. I didn't even really think about like full songs or whatnot. And so then at this point, my older siblings and all of them, they started wanting to learn the song, and so they were like picking it out by ear and like trying and struggling. And I remember my sister, she was picking it out by ear, but it would take her a lot longer. And she played it, only the melody. She would do I remember she would do that, and I hated it because I knew that wasn't the note, but she did that, and so then I started trying to learn it. And I remember my oldest brother, Joe, I remember him saying, I'm going to get better than you at this piano. I'm going to get better than you. And I hated, like, the idea of him getting better than me just mortified me. So I would practice a lot more, and I would play Sweet, the song just finished. And so I would play and practice and practice and practice to make sure that he didn't. And I was learning the song. Hold on. It's in the Dropbox. But I learned the melody, but I didn't know the whole song anyway. And my mom, I remember she got me these books. They were like little, like these really thin books, and they like had songs in them. And I wasn't really reading. She would read them, and they had like simple stuff. Those songs in there, and I would play them, cause she would play them, and then when she played them, then I would play them and I'd follow her. But when they came to this chord, that's the wrong chord, and I knew it was the wrong chord, and I asked her, "What's the right chord?" And she was like, "No, that's it. You play that." But it's not. But I didn't know that, and so either way, so she would show me those songs, and then one of my favorite songs that I learned at the time. Not to embellish when I'm playing now, but that was one of the songs that I remember learning, and she had taught it to me, and I learned it, and I would play it all the time, and so I was like learning like all these different little songs from her, and but I still, my ear, as far as ear was concerned, I would only do chords. I would do block chords. So if I was to learn it on my own, but had she not taught it to me, I would have done it like this. So I would do those chords. That's the way I played every song, just block chords at that point. But unless someone showed it to me, then I would learn it more. And around that time, I ended up meeting my cousin. I had this cousin named Mondo. He played as well, and we would like every time I'd hang out with him, he would show me songs. So one day when I was probably around, I'm gonna say about 7 or 8 years old. No, I was older than that. I think I was 9. Yeah, I was 9. And he came over and he showed me a bunch of songs. So that song was the first time he showed me this chord, and I remember up to that point. So once he showed me this chord, it was like, oh, that was the chord I was always looking for there, and he showed me that chord. And when I learned that chord, then it was like the eye opener. Like, oh my God, I can do this chord, because I hated this chord. I still to this day, anytime I hear that chord, it like makes me cringe internally. Because for so many years I had to play with that chord, knowing that it was wrong. And so then he showed me that chord, and then he showed me this. So, which is better, because that's what the bass line should be. So he taught me that, and once I learned those things, and I would I just start applying that, and then anytime I learned a new song, I would add those chords instead of doing the bad chords. And I learned arpeggio, and I started doing that. And then, so that was like around 9 or so. And at this point, like, I'm still just always playing. I would go out and do stuff with friends and whatnot, like, play hide and seek with my favorite. Used to love running and whatnot, but I would always play the piano. Like, that was something that I would do all the time. It was like an obsession of mine. Anytime, like, I never ever was forced, like, oh, you better practice. You need to practice this amount of hours. I didn't have recitals or anything like that, so I didn't have to worry about it. I would just play and play and play. And so since it wasn't forced on me, I loved it. I never got to that point where most people, they hate the piano, they hate or like they get good at it, but their parents make them practice to where they resent it. So then as soon as they're like old enough to they don't have to play anymore, they just quit and they never play it anymore. That never happened to me because I was never forced to play. My parents always they just let me be. I kind of was left to my own devices, so I just played it because I loved to play it and because I wanted to get better at it. And I always had this competition thing. Like I said, my brother, I remember him telling me he was gonna get better than me, so I was always like practicing, like, no, I can't let him pass me up. We were a very competitive family, and so I would play by ear, and I would always get a lot of attention for it. Obviously, some little kid, and my sister, she quit, and I hated it. She said she would play songs and she would be practicing the songs, like learning. She'd be reading by notes, and she'd be at that song for hours. And then from me hearing her practicing, and I would get very frustrated. Like, why isn't just do this note? You already heard that. That's wrong. And I'm wondering why she can't just figure it out. But I had this toy and all these things, and I had been practicing since I was so little, and I had that gift or whatnot. So then it for me to learn, it was instant. But for her, she would put in hours. And so she would sit there and practicing the song for like 30 minutes, and I'm just listening the whole time. And so then when she would get up, then I would just walk over to the piano and I'd play the song that she had been practicing for 30 minutes. And of course that would obviously frustrate her. It's like, man, I've been working at this all this time, and then here this little kid just comes over here and just plays it. It would frustrate her. And then the family, they would give me a lot of attention for it. Like, Adrian would play a song and be like, okay, good job, Adrian. And then I would play a song, he'd be like, oh my God. They flip out because I'm, so little and playing this music. So she hated it, resented it. And I don't think she ever resented me for it, but she just hated that fact, like that I would get all that attention over it, and she hated that I'm dealing with that, so she just quit. I used to really, really hate that she quit, and I used to feel really guilty over it. But so anyway, I developed all that time, and I kept learning like extra little tidbits. And so that was like 4th grade, and when my cousin Mondo showed me all that stuff. What up, Top Tier? I'm just going over some music history. Taking a long time to do it, but I just wanted to get this all out. So then we afterwards, like, okay, so at 10 years old, I remember there was a talent show. In the 5th grade, they had a talent show. You had to audition. And I didn't know what I was going to play at the time. So I just went there and I just started playing and I just made something up. And I did the audition and the song went on for an hour and it wasn't really connected because I didn't have a song and I didn't even remember what I played. I was just up there playing. And then they were like, I didn't make it. But there was another kid that did. His name was David Harding. And he played the Addams Family. And then, so he played that. He played that, I remember, and then he did the Charlie Brown. Wait. Yeah, whatever. That song, I never really completely learned that song. But he played those two songs, I remember. And I remember one time he brought over, they had brought a little keyboard to the class one time, and he was playing, and he played, Be Prepared. I don't know how he played it exactly, but he played it really, really well. And then, so then once he did that, then I wanted to play it, obviously. And I remember the teacher gave him a lot of attention for it, and I felt like, inferior because she was giving him all props. And that teacher didn't particularly like me because I was a cocky little retard. And so she definitely, I think she like hammed it up on purpose whenever he would play, and then whenever I played, she would, whatever. It was like her way of getting back at me, I think, which, it was good. But what it did was, I had this idea, like, I want to get better than David Harding. Like, I have to surpass this dude. And so I would practice. And I remember I made up my own version for Be Prepared, and I would learn all these songs, but still wasn't as good as his version. But that was like this drive, like, I gotta get better than him, I gotta get better than him. And so I would like practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. And then when it came to the 6th grade, we had a talent show. And like they did the same talent show, but this time I auditioned and I made it in. And I had written this song. I'm gonna play it exactly as I played it there, right? So it was a simple song, just chords and melody. But yeah, that's what I played in the talent show, and so that year I made it, but he was still better than me. And he played. Oh, that year, 6th grade year is when he did Addams Family and that other song. That was the year that he did that, and because the 5th grade talent show I didn't even go to, because I didn't get in, and I just I didn't go. But the 6th grade year when I went to it, that's when he did that song, and I just felt like, man, I gotta get better than this dude. This is our last year in high school at this point. I mean, in elementary. At this point, I get, I was like super duper into other stuff, and but I would practice. I would still practice a lot, and then we went to different junior highs, so I didn't really get to see him again. But I would always in my mind think about the fact that I wanted to get better than him. I wanted to become, I just wanted to be better than him. And my cousin Mondo, every time I come around him, I would always feel like, man, I'm getting better at the piano. And so then I would think, next time I see Mondo, I'll be better than him. But then every time I'd see him again, he got better, which meant even though I improved, he improved more. And so he was way better than me, always. And so I was constantly tracing it, like, no, I gotta catch him, I gotta get as good as him. And I would just, play all the time. And then around 12 years old, I remember there was this commercial that would come on the radio for this company called AirTouch. and had this song. It was like it went wait. All right, hold on. So it was like that, right? But it started off, and it was somebody just doing and like screwing up, and she would make mistakes, and then like they're like telling you what the plan was or what they're offering and how much minutes or I don't know whatever the freak they were doing for Air Touch. And then at the end it was about to be like, and it was like, now you can get back to doing more of what you want to do. And then she played the whole song. That was it. That was the whole jingle, and I played that, and then eventually I started like making an intro for it, and it was but I would play like that. Oh wait, hold on. But anyway, so I would just embellish the freak out of it. But I had heard that song, and I was like, I like learned like just arpeggiating. Right? And so I like picked that up, and I just didn't, I started arpeggiating a lot, and every time again I would like end up going and meeting Mondo, and like I remember we went to a retreat. Oh no. Okay, hold on. There's another important story. It's really important. So when I was around 10, I want to say, I remember I came and I'd written some song. I don't remember the song now, but I had made up some little song, and I was feeling all proud about it. And so I'm like making the song, and I'm like all happy, and then I walk around the corner, and my siblings, my oldest brother, oldest sister, and my third oldest. The three oldest siblings. They were in the kitchen doing something, cooking, cleaning, doing something. I don't know. And I was like, yo, did you guys hear that song I played? I just made this song up. Did you guys hear it? And I was all proud of it. And they went. My oldest brother goes, that ain't nothing. There was that little blind kid on TV, and he was making up songs and stuff like that, and he could play way better than you. And my sister goes, yup, and he was blind too. And so I'm sitting there at this point, I'm feeling crushed, like, hey, they don't like my song, and that kid's better than me. And I remember I was like super hurt over it, but I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get better than that blind kid. Like I just decided I'm gonna practice and practice and practice until I get better than him. And it just like I don't know. I feel like anytime somebody made like a negative comment like that, like or something, I don't know. My family's like super competitive and super duper harsh. That's just the way they are. Like, I mean, love them to death, but it's just the way we always have been. And but it fueled me. It just made me feel like probably not a healthy way, but I was chasing that at that point. I was like, I'm gonna get better than that kid. So I would practice and practice and practice and practice and practice, to get better than him. And it sounds gross, but like that was like my thing. Like, I'm gonna get better than him. So I had David Harden, who I was definitely trying to get better than. I had that kid who I was always trying to get better than, the blind kid, and I had my cousin Mondo, who I was constantly trying to get better than. And it was just like, no, I gotta get better, I gotta get better, I gotta improve. And so I'd spend all these hours at the piano, and I don't think it was the same kind of joy that it was like when I was a little kid, where I was playing specifically to play. Where it was just like, I want to play the game. I mean, I want to play the piano, and I'm going to play it. I think at that point, it was, I did enjoy playing it, but there was also this feeling of like inferiority that I was like running away from. So I just wanted to improve to get better than all the people that I felt were better than me. Because I felt like if I got better than them, then eventually I'd get that kind of, that recognition, acceptance, whatever it was. And so I was like constantly chasing that. And again, every single time I'd meet them, they would still be, like every time I'd meet my cousin Mondo, he'd be way better. And we went to a retreat. And we went to a retreat and like with our church. And while we were there, we were playing, and he would play a song and I'd play a song. We were just switching off. And one of the dudes that was there was like, I don't want to hear the little songs you be playing. I like the song he plays. And I'll go into that. I agree. I will. But yeah, he. Well, let me explain. Maybe. Hold on. Yeah, I think so. I'm not. I can't give you a short answer, but I'll just say I think so for now. But he said that to me and it hurt, and it was just like, I remember I almost wanted to cry over it. I was really hurt. And I don't think I was even 12 at that point. I had to be younger. But I remember I would spend hours. And while I would play, this is gross, but while I would be playing, I would be hearing those phrases. Like I would be hearing someone say, oh, he's better than you. Or I'd be hearing, that kid's blind. I'm serious. It sounds disgusting, but that's what I would be hearing. Or I'd be remembering those little incidents like that. And so I'd be playing and I'd be practicing. And so it was like almost like a love-hate thing. Like I loved playing the piano, I loved music, but then it was kind of bad because I was playing it with this really sick motivation and these really dark thoughts in my head the whole time. Like, I'm not good enough, I gotta practice, I gotta get better. And so, hey Lazy Nagger, how's it going, man? It's good to see you, man. So that's what I was playing with. That was my motivation. It was just always thinking that I wasn't good enough, and always thinking that I wanted to beat the people that were better than me. And so I would practice and I got better and better. And every time, like I said, I would learn one little thing. It would change something. Like I learned the arpeggios, and then I learned that air touch song. And when I would go around my cousin Mondo, he would play way better songs. He was so advanced, and he would do. He had like an old gospel style, which I can't even imitate right now. But I'll show you some of the songs he did. I remember one of the songs he taught me. He must have taught me this at like 13. I went and stayed at his house. I went and stayed with my aunt, whatever. I was in homeschool. I stayed at their house for a week to catch up because I wasn't doing any work. And while I was there, he taught me a few songs. This is one of them. Particularly good at doing octaves, and I was like, I would struggle a lot with them. And so what I ended up teaching myself, I decided to create a song. I am having a great day, Lazy Nagger. Thank you for coming by, man. I'm having a really, really, really good day. But I do appreciate you stopping by. So I wanted to learn octaves, because he was always doing octaves, and I wasn't that good at them. So the way for me to learn octaves was I created a song, right? song basically, and I did that, and it was a song, but the purpose of it was like an exercise, and I wanted to improve the ability to do octaves when I was in. So where I can, you know what I mean? It was learning that, and so I learned that, and and I was showing these songs, and every time I show him, he'd be like, "Yo, man, listen to this," and then he'd be like, "Oh, that's cool," and he would show, and then he would play something, and it would always be better than whatever the freak I could play, but. And it was good because it really did push me to get better. If I was stuck to my own devices, I probably wouldn't improve. I feel like competition is my way of improving at everything. Literally everything. It's always about some sort of competition. Everything I do is competition, to be 100% real. And when we so at that point, I still was pretty basic at the piano. But then I had a really huge breakthrough. I don't know what the first song ever that I learned it on, but I learned this thing. Those things. Those are sevens, right? And I didn't know major sevens, but that was the first time I learned them. And once I learned that, it was like, wait a minute, I could put that in every song. So I would write songs the whole time based off of whatever theories I had, and so then I started creating these things based on these sevens, right? So really simple songs. So right there, right? Wait. That's that thing that I learned. So I would put that in every song. And so I did that song, and I think I named that after my mother. I'm pretty sure that's Alita. And then so every song, what was it? So I made all these songs that were like based on that chord. They would all be in the key of C because that was the key that I was the most comfortable in based on that because of that toy. But so I hit that breakthrough, and it changed as far as now my chords became way more complex and I could play. But I still had like a lot to learn, but I could definitely do that. And I was hanging out with my cousin, and he taught me this song. Whenever we would go to church, they have these things called meetings, but they're really like revivals, if you will, kind of. It's like a group, like where like all the churches from all around would come, and we would all, you'd have service, but there would be three services a day, 10:30, 2:30, and 7:30. And so we'd be there, but they have like an old folks home attached to the church because it's a huge, like, I don't know how many acres, but it's a pretty huge campground. And so there's like a old folks home in there, and in the old folks home they have the piano, and so we would all go in there. Now, because of the fact that we're all part of the church and they're all, there's all this a cappella music, they were really big families. Everybody had people in their family that would play music, and we'd all go in there and we'd play these songs on the piano, and but they were always better. They were much older than me, but they were way better than me at the time. One of the people played this song, which I love to death. I haven't played it in years, so I might be awful at it. like that. It was simple song. It was really repetitive, but I learned that pattern, which is difficult now for me to do. But I would do that, and so I started making every song. I would make songs, and I'd make them with that pattern. I would just, any song I made, I would use that pattern for a while. That was like my best song. I felt like amazed by. She had originally. I remember I couldn't do both at the same time because I didn't have the muscle memory to do that, and so I would have my sister play. She would play with this melody up top, and I would do that, and so we would always play that song together. And I remember one day, once I finally learned how to play it on my own, I played it by myself. And she came in the house and she saw me playing it, and she seemed like she was really hurt by it. And I think it's because it was like our song that we played together, and then it's like, oh, here you are, now you're playing it without me. But so that was my song. And then anytime, like if I had like a situation where I needed to like show off or where I was like trying to impress people, that was my go-to song. And I would always have these little experiences where I'd feel good. I remember one time we were at a mall. We were chilling at the mall, and they had all these people, and they were doing like these. It was like a recital that was at this mall, and all these people were taking turns playing music. And me loving me some attention, I was like, oh, I want to play, and I was asking my mom, can I go play? She's like, yeah, let's go up there and play. But I felt a little awkward. I wasn't sure, and then I finally was like, all right, I'm gonna play, and I played that song. And afterwards, everybody like went crazy about it, and they were like, "He's really good," and they were like talking about getting me lessons and all this stuff. And I don't know whatever became of that. Like the lady talked to my mom, and that was the end of it. Like nothing ever happened from it. But I just remember that moment. It just felt so good. Like 'cause I had all these people cheering and whatnot for me. And then so I would play these songs. Now, mind you, like I said, when I first was learning that song, there was a lady that a girl that played it at the church, like in the rest home. And we'd all get together, we'd all play these songs, but they were all better than me at the time because I was really young and still hadn't learned it that much. And so, but I would learn the songs that they taught, that they played there. And then like sometimes while we would be there, I would just go in there and play the piano with my cousin Mondo. He would just teach me the songs. I remember one of them. Don't forget it. Come on, how does it go? I remember I was really stuck on this one for a long time. But I never learned the rest of the song. But it took me a while to get that, and I didn't have the strength for it in my fingers. It was hard, but it was like he would teach me those songs. Oh, Here We Are. I remember it. But I remember him teaching me that song, and there's one more that I can't think of right now. It's weird. I don't know. There was another song that he taught me that was kind of in the same realm of playing, and he taught me that, and I remember like the concept of having your left hand and having this constant. So he taught me that, and then he taught. There is a song. This is like the most important one right here. Oh man, well, life is going pretty good, Lonnie. I still play that sometimes, but now I'm playing a lot more characters. I'm awful at the game. But he showed me that song, and like all the time when he would teach me these songs, I was always like, they were like miles ahead of whatever I would come up with at the time. How did Alanya go? There was a song this chick I had a crush on, and so that song has that same pattern, right? Right. So look. Right. Oh man, I do know that song. But so I would play. I would like that. I would do every song that way. But then every time he would show me stuff, it would like push me to the next level. And so all the time, whenever we'd have these little sessions, we'd go there and we'd play. And I always wanted to be the best there, but I wasn't by far. And so I spent like the last time I think I went to one of those things was when I was 13. And so at that point, I remember my mom one day. This is like the most. As far as my mom is concerned, this is probably the biggest breakthrough. She used to say to me all the time, all the freaking time, you need to learn to play accompaniment. You need to learn to play accompaniment. And I never knew what accompaniment was. But accompaniment, the whole theory is, because the way I approached music was from melody, right? Like I learned with this little maestro, and I'd always learn these songs, and so I'd play the melody. While I was playing the melody, then I'd be doing chords to accompany the melody. But what she was always telling me was, what you need to do is you need to play. So if someone wanted to sing, she's like, you can always find a lot of work as an accompanist, right? Like if you do accompaniment, you can always find like a lot of work for doing that. But I didn't know how. And I must have been around 14, 13, I want to say 13, 14. And one day she was singing this song, and she was like, all right, play with me. Play the song with me, but don't worry about the melody. And so I was just doing the chords and like doing whatever I wanted to like embellish, but I wasn't playing the melody. She was singing the melody, and she was like, you got it, that's accompaniment. And I remember it was huge. I wish she was here, because she would sing it like right now, and I would be able to play it with her. But I finally had that breakthrough where I was playing chords and background music and changing it up however I wanted to without playing the melody. and it clicked right there where it was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can do this now. And so then from that point on, my brother would sing a lot, and he would sing with me while I played. He would sing while I played, and so we would do music together, just little stuff. And so at this point, I'm practicing and I'm playing, and like I said, I'm still just getting better. My ear is getting way stronger, and my parents at 15, they went to Costco, and they had this like thing, man. I never sing while playing. It's almost impossible for me to do. I don't know. I can't do that. But it's gonna be someone else singing. I'll show you too. I'll show you. So look, long story short, my mom, she went to Costco. They had this thing where they had like all these clavinovas there. I must have been 15 at the time. And they had all the clavinovas, and my mom was like, hey, come up here, I want to show you these things. So she was showing me, because she'd always been saying I needed someone with me to record. And so I go up there, and they like have all these pianos on sale, and I'm playing with them, playing with the instruments. For the first time, I like have all these instruments I can play with, and it's like blowing my mind. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And my mom is like, yeah, do you want to do you is that what you need? Is that what you would need to do more music? And I'm like, yeah, like, this is it. Like, this is exactly what I need. She's like, okay, we're gonna look into it. They were expensive. It was $3,400. Still remember it to this day. It was $3,400, and it was like really expensive, and you had to lease it and like make payments, and it was crazy and all that nonsense. And my mom did not have $3,400 to chilling around. My brother was in the Navy; he ended up paying for it. But long story short, she got me. So while I was there was this guy that was there, and he was like, "Oh, you play too, huh?" And so he started playing. And this dude, he was nice. He was nice on the keys. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and he's like, so. And my mom was like, "Yeah, he plays by ear though. He doesn't." And she was like, he could play anything. And the guy was like, "Anything? All right, let me see." So he starts playing his song, but he's going through like a whole song, and I'm like, at the time I'm young and I couldn't remember the whole song, and I was like, I can't play all of that. So then she was like, yeah, no, he can't remember everything, but play a section of the song and then see if he can do that. So then the guy starts going through and he's playing the song, and everything he does like a measure, and I just repeat the measure, and he does another measure, and I just repeat the measure, and he's just going through it, and then he's like, well, I know he's playing that by ear because that's a song that I wrote, and he was like, no, like, so then he started telling my mom, like, look, I'm gonna find a way of helping you get this piano, because he really wanted me to have it, which was really cool of him. But yeah, he was so then from that point on, like, he gave me a CD. I recorded some music, and like I recorded something, and he gave me a little disc that you can put in here, like this little floppy disc, and I was like, and I had that, and he was like, yeah, never lose that, man. This is, yeah, you should get this. This you have the talent for it, whatever. And so then, but we couldn't afford it, whatnot, at the time, so I'm just whatever. So I'm going to school. One day, like on my last day of high school, on my last day of my junior year, I come home and there's moving dudes outside the house, and they're bringing in this piano. Like, and I'm like, Mom, the piano's here. Da, da, da. She was just like, yep, we got it. And so I'm like blown away at this point, because I have this device, and it has songs on it and all these different sounds, and I can finally make, now it's not just piano music. Now I'm like composing songs and putting strings and like all these different things, and it was like amazing, and I was feeling it. And it came with a demo CD, and the demo CD had this song on it, which I can't play very well anymore, but and at the time I was like, this is impossible, I'll never learn this song, but I did eventually. I thought it was like way out of my reach, but it has this. had like all this music that went with it and everything, and the keys would light up, but it was still way too fast. And they played it way faster than that, and I couldn't keep up with it, and I didn't understand how to do it. And then one day, I noticed that you could turn off different parts of the song, so I like got rid of all the other instruments and made it to where it was just piano. And then not only was it only piano, I also got it. When I separated parts, I noticed that you could separate hands. So then you could do it. It would I had it one part when I was playing it, and it was going. Right, and I was like, oh, so then that means the rest part is with your right hand. Because at the time I was trying to go, I was trying to do it all with one hand basically, and that doesn't work. And so then I was like, okay. You can do it, but it's not. That's not the way it's meant to be played. Especially if you're trying to go fast. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, you need to know the fingering, and I learned it from that, like, because it separated it, and I was like, yo. And I remember when I first got the keyboard, I thought I will never ever learn that song. I literally was telling myself it's too hard, it's impossible, I'll never learn this, even if I practice forever. And then I eventually figured it out. So then at that point, I started playing around with like the demos, and I was like composing all these songs. So I stopped focusing on primarily piano, and I was more about composing. And then I found this demo right here. Is it that one? No, that's not it. Hold on. Which demo? How do you play it? It's demo. Oh, it's this one right here. Right here. Listen. Look. So I was like looking, I was like, dang, that arpeggio is really nice. I don't even think I knew it was called an arpeggio at the time, but I was like, yo, that thing is nice. And so I like would practice it, and you can like play it, and you can keep rewinding it, and you can put it in slow motion, and I would do it. I think, yeah, I would make it. Hold on, let me show you. You can. Rewind that and do it over and over again. Right? And so I would practice that over and over and over again. Right? Until to where now that's like just perfunctory for me. Creating different ones. So once I learned those arpeggios, the way I started it is I would do it at that really, really slow BPM, and then I would learn it that way, and then I would speed it up a little bit, and just do it again, speed it up 5 BPM, do it again, and I would just do it that way until I got really fast at it, and that became this thing. But once I learned that, then that obviously is going to shape all of my compositions. Every time I would learn these new techniques, then the songs I would make, I would use it because I was so impressed with it. It's like, yeah, now I can put that in my song. So I'm going to show you one of the songs that I created. The first song I created after learning that technique, it was this right here. Um, so as you can see, it was everywhere, right? On the part right. So I would do that everywhere, and that's how I learned all those arpeggios. This is the same thing backwards. Um, so I learned that arpeggio, and that like shaped every song I did after that. Every song, and I learned that I want to say like 15, and so I would make all these songs, and by me doing that, I was like, remember, and to bring it back, this entire time I want you to understand, I'm learning all these things, and I'm still having this mentality of I want to be better than all those people at the church now. I want to, the next time we meet together, I want to be better than them all. But because of the fact that every single time I did, like, remember, I would learn from Mondo, and then I would get better, and then every time I would get better, he would get better. So then when he kept getting better, then I always felt like, oh man, I guess I'm just not good enough. So then I would feel get better again. I'd be like, yeah, now I'm better than where he was. But then by the time I got to where he was so far ahead. So no matter what I could never catch him. So I had that mentality, and so then I learned that lesson that like, yeah, they're gonna get better as you get better. So even though I knew I was like miles ahead of where I had been, and probably ahead of even where they were at that point, I still had it in my mind like, yo, I gotta get better than them. I gotta get better than them. So I'd been practicing and practicing and practicing and improving. And I remember that song, I remember showing my cousin that song, and I was like, yo, I've gotten way better now. You guys gotta hear me. So they always used to love listening to me play. And so I showed them that song, and when I showed it to them, I showed it to my cousin Alana, and she was like, yeah, wow, man, we're so much better now, da 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 da. And I remember I asked her, and I still can't believe I even asked this, because most of the time I wouldn't even admit that I was like trying to get better than those people. But I remember I asked her, hey, do you think I'm as good as them now? Do you think I could keep up with them? Like, and she's like, with who? And I was like, all the people at the church, like, all the young people. And then she was like, what? And then she said, are you kidding me? You've been better than them for I don't know how many years. You're probably the best piano player I know. And I was like, you really think so? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, what about Mondo? She's like, Mondo can't play like that. But at that point, I was just like, nah, no way. So I heard it and I took it and I believed it because she was saying it and she was like, an honest person. But there's still a part of me like, nah, not really. But I just was still going ham at that point, and I would just compose and compose and compose, and all my songs were getting so much better. There was no longer like just simple melodies; they were there was more complexity to them, and remember, so that was like a good 15, 16, going on 17. Oh, what was the song I wrote at 17? Hold on, let me think of it. It'll come. Oh, no. There's one more story. Pretty huge deal too. This one was probably significant. There was a talent show my junior year in high school. They had a talent show, and I went to it, and they had like singers and all these different performers, and I decided I was gonna play the piano, and so I auditioned. I made it. It was good. There was another girl that auditioned, and everyone telling me like, "Oh, you don't know, this girl's so good. She's so much better. You don't even know." Like, hating. But either way, I was like, "Oh, we'll see." And so when we went to the talent show, I did a song that I wrote. This one. I haven't played this in years, and this is one that's hardest for me to play now. I won't play it the same way I used to. that was the song I ended the talent show with, and I wish I could play her song like 100%. But she did a song that I wish I could play it. It was a ballad. So she did a ballad. And there were two things that happened there. She went before me, by the way. So I was like, dang. When I heard her play, I was just like, yo, she's really good. She is as good as they were all saying. They were all telling me she was better. And she was really good. And I'm just like, dang, she is really good. And I was like, very impressed. And she did that ballad. And they told me like, yo, you need to move like she does. Because back when I played, I would always just look really like down at the keyboard to make sure I hit all the right keys. But there was like, I didn't have the same emotion. Yo, 8 months in a row. Thank you so much, Azazel. I appreciate it. Like a lot from the bottom of my heart, man. And yeah. No, I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the support, bro. That's sick. So she learned that song and she did it, and like they were like, man, you better move like that when you go up there. Like it's one of my homegirls was telling me, like, you better move like she does. And I couldn't because I never practiced or whatever. And I just wasn't into it in that way. I don't know, for some reason I let the music express itself, but I never moved. Now I move a lot when I'm playing because I'm into it. It's just, I don't know, it's natural. But at the time it wasn't. And but she was playing ballads, and I remember asking her, and so they told me that they separated the thing in groups, right? Like they were like, yeah, you have they were like, yeah, they'll like judge the singers on one thing, they'll judge the pianists on one thing, and so on and so forth. And I was like, all right. And so then when it came time for like them to announce like who got what places, they said third place was me, and I was chilling in the back with my family, and I was like, third place, Laura Riley, and I was like, what? And I stood up, like, 'cause I was pissed, like, third place? How did I get third place? The third pianist player was not even near neither one of our levels. So I was like, how did I get third? How did that person beat me? And I was pissed. And my brother was like, just bow and say thank you. And I was like, oh, thank you. I don't think they could hear me, but he was just like, just bow. And I did, because I was not socially aware enough to recognize, like, you can't act indignant when you when you win a trophy. Like, you just can't do that. It's really, really bad form. But I didn't know that at the time, and I remember just being pissed, and I like just listened to what my brother told me to do, and I did it, and I got the award. She beat me, so I was competing with her for years, probably to this day still. Honest to God, I still think about her often. Like, I wonder if she's better than me now. Like, you know, but we learned differently. She was classically trained, and I was, you know, still by ear. And later on, I ended up meeting her and talking to her, and she was cool people. So she was like teaching me stuff, and she taught me a few exercises, and taught me a few phrases that I didn't understand. I learned that from her. I learned that she taught me how to do that kind of scale, this exercise. She was teaching me all those things. There was something else. There were a few things that she taught me that I was like, yo, I just have to practice that because it'll take a long time. But she taught me all these things, so I was cool. But again, I was competitive, and I'm like, I gotta get better than her. And at that point, that was so I was still improving and like working on all these things. But then from her doing that song, her thing, I was like, I want to make a ballad. I had never written a ballad before. And so then my homegirl Shannon, who I had a crush on at the time, whenever I'd make these songs, by the way, I'd always just name them after women that I was into or like relatives. So I had a song, Alita, which is my mom, Adria, which is my sister, Alanya, who was my crush, Alyssa, another crush. She became more like family after a while though, and then Shannon. But all my songs, most of them, I want to say all of them started with an A and ended with an A. Like Alyssa, Alita, Adria, Alanya, don't know. But then Shannon broke that. Anyway, and I wrote this song on this keyboard, which I remember being into because I added instruments and sounds to it. But it's this right here.
We're going over to mom and dad's to have tacos.
Oh yeah. I'll be over there a little bit. Anyway, it was that song, Shannon. When I wrote her that song, I was like, yo, I played it for her over the phone, whatnot. I was always playing all these songs for these different women I was into at different times in my life. And but that was my first ballad, and I made more and more ballads like that. I had never done that, but because I heard her do that ballad, then it like inspired me. Like, oh, okay, I can do ballads, and I learned. And so I was constantly adding all these different genres. This song, peep this out. This one. Yeah. Anyway, there was that song, and that was like jazz, right? And so when I made that song and the other piano song together, right? Remember how I told you I learned this song right here. You hear the similarity? The chord idea, the whatever. Same concept. The other one is so that's where like I would always anytime I would learn or hear a song, if it was a new style, I would learn that style, and then that would influence me to be able to make music in that style. So whereas I started out like learning, like little songs like El Shaddai and all those other things, I learned eventually classical music, and I learned that, and I would make songs more classical style. This thing. Kenny G So I would, like I'm saying, I would just learn those things, like or whatever. And Kenny G was really huge, like during that time. It was when I was in 5th grade, and so then that's when I started like changing that, like adding that style. Or like I said, I learned the ballad style from that girl in that talent show. And so at that point, I started making a lot more music. I tried to do EDM, and I was struggling with it and whatnot. And but I would do hip hop beats on this keyboard. None of them were particularly good. I wish this thing worked, but I got to take the keyboard apart to make it work. But I had all these beats on here, and they were cool. I wonder if I have some of them. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm gonna show you one really quick. It'll take me like 3 minutes to make. 5 minutes to make, I'll say, just to be safe. All right, let's hold on. It was video game inspired. Hold on. percussion on this thing sucks balls, so I didn't have very much access. What was it? It was called Stand Kit. Yeah, this should do it. And then I would do little tracks like that. That was like my production. The thing that sucks about this keyboard is that it doesn't let you fast forward. It doesn't let you rewind really. So I can't like loop something and be like, I'll just play this once and then make it loop, like, and then have it be like a full, like, and have full access to all edits and all that stuff. You can't do that. And so then that's why I would make these tracks. But every time I would do it, I would have to record the entire length of the song. There was no looping. There was no skipping. There was none of that. And if I made a mistake, I'd have to go back to the beginning of the track because the punch in and punch out method was really, really bad on this thing. So I would have to one track everything and make sure everything was flawless the first time I did it. So it made me get better, but it was also awful as far as like trying to completely do music. So when I ended up learning FL Studio and stuff, it was like a freaking dream sim. But anyway, so I've been composing and doing this music for all that time and for all those years, and it was always with that motivation to get better than other people and all of that stuff. So even to this day, I still have that drive a little bit, just because the different experiences. I always hold on to them. And same thing with like gaming too. I feel like I remember every loss. I remember sad, but I still remember people that beat me when I was 16 years old playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at Tilt Arcade for 50 cents. I just remember all my losses, and I feel like it used to push me, like, no, I'm going to get better. And I would always pray, like, man, one of these days I'm going to play these people again and I'm going to beat them. But it's really stupid because it's like, son, I'm legitimately double that age now. So this is like legit half of my life ago, and I still remember the people that beat me. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever forget. I still remember, like I said, all the situations where people would tell me, like, oh, he's better than you, piano and stuff like that. I don't like being better or worse than anybody in anything. I definitely do admit pretty freely I have an inferiority complex. That people can be better than me and stuff, and I accept that and just be fine with it. If it's something that I care about. If it's something I don't really care about or I'm not invested in, then I don't care. Like, for example, like in Marvel 3 now, someone was like, yo, man, Rary's so much better than you now. And it's like, yeah, you're right. And I don't even, like, it doesn't bother me because it's like, oh, this is not something I'm invested into. But if I was
Mark host
actively
disconnected
playing
from your
and trying my
channel.
best,
Default
and I thought I
channel
was
from
better, then it
Fanatic.
would hurt me. Like, and then it'd be like, nah, I'm going to get better than them. I'm going to improve. I'm going to show you that I'm better. Whatever. And I always have that motivation. Like, I don't like losing in anything. I'm really, really, like, insanely, unhealthily competitive. So, when I started doing this production thing, it was really simple. I would go to like my brother's friends' houses and stuff like that, and I would learn these songs and I'd make these songs. but I still didn't understand fully producing. Other people would help me with the percussion, or I would like jot the idea of the percussion from other people. I'm gonna show you guys some of these tracks that I had made like from a long time ago that that was my music at the time. Hold on, it would be it's on my computer. It's in my old hard drive. C users. My music. No, dude, maybe it's just in downloads. I don't know where to go to get them. I just saw them too, man. I just don't remember what folder it was in. I have them. If it's not in this folder, then it's gotta be. I was looking for, and I looked on the old hard drive. I did for sure. Oh, I know. It's in C users and my documents, I think, or maybe it's in downloads. Yeah. Here goes one. Yeah, it's so simple in its nature. This is like, I was feeling it at the time, I thought it was real. So I did that one. What's this one? Hold on. I like this track a lot right here. So I would do all these tracks, man, and I would be feeling it. Like, but my brother, they're all in the West Coast hip hop, and so I've like obviously developed. As you guys noticed, I've been like improving my musicality, my producing, my composition, everything. I just feel like I've gotten so much stronger, but I always still hated percussion, and I hated it, and I would always ask other people to do it for me, and that was always my weakness, and I had to start doing it on my own. I remember I almost gave up on producing, and I was like, I'm just going to be a composer, and I'm going to give the composition to someone and make them produce the song, because I didn't think I was capable. And finally I started producing one day, and it broke through where I was like, I'm happy with my own percussion. And I just did a track yesterday. My brother came home and he was like, yo, we'll make a track, So I started doing it, he started spitting to it. It was kind of real. I made this just yesterday, and I feel like, as far as West Coast is concerned, this is West Coast music. Like, bruh, I feel like it's pretty solid. Hold on. Wait. tell me that's not West Coast hip hop right there. I mean, it's like forgotten times, like West Coast '90s probably, late '90s. But 100%, that's that kind of music. And I did it on the spot. My brother came, he was like, "Yo, man," he gave me a little idea, and I started messing around with it. And I came up with this song. It took me like maybe an hour, I want to say. That's full production. I feel like. I mean, obviously, you got to do a little bit more to it, but the track is there. I feel like my production is getting on point, man, and it's like encouraging because I've always had this thing. I remember one time I went with my brother to go do music over somewhere, and I just didn't like the track we did. He wasn't feeling it. It was rough, and I was just like upset. It was bothering me because it was just like, yo, that was my time to perform, and I didn't do it, so it kind of sucked. And that happened with that happens sometimes. Bro, I started working on this track. I think this track right here is fire, and I don't think it's no retro like '90s style West Coast. I think this is like contemporary music. Peep this out. I'm working on it still. I feel like this track is gonna be fire when I finish it. You get some somebody to spit to it too. Oh my gosh! But anyway, so I've been doing that, and as you guys, I'm pretty sure most of you guys remember Morphine, right? Like it was a track I did. It was an EDM track I did a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I'll have it on here. I hope it's the working title is Morphine, isn't it? Yep. This one. Song, we got young Jennifer Zhang on there. She gonna elevate the track to the next level. I'm about to show y'all, which is pretty ridiculous. I'm feeling it. And she did right here. I don't know, man. I feel like she did that song some freaking justice, man. She did that one. We got this one coming out. Well, I mean, y'all heard most of this already.
Lay us down, lay us down. Motion's hot, but rest is nice. Let our friction cool on ice. Come around, come around, come around, and collide, 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 collide. Though we're kinetic, so magnetic, we can't lay it down. Poetic that
Got those two. Then we got Ripples. This song is not for everybody. It's for me though, cause like this is probably my most proud work. This is a song that I got to where I felt like, yo, I'm a producer now. I did all this percussion, no samples, no leases, no nothing, no help, no assistance. 100% wrote the lyrics, wrote the melody, wrote the production. Like this is like my song. I did it all by myself, no help. So it's a huge deal to me. Just because I always wanted help, and this was one of the two songs that came out when I was deciding like I think I want to quit producing because I'm just not good enough, and I did it. Like, and it was like I can be a producer. I can if I could do this.
still need you. As across the stormy sea, can you be patient? Be patient. When I make my return, will you be waiting? Please be waiting. Is it worth the pain? Right now I miss you. I pray every day to be with you. 'Cause as I float away, I do it for you.
So this song is real. That song is it's a personal one for me. That one's real, and then the final one we're doing, which is what I'm exporting right here. I feel like that and Aqua Dulce are very similar in style, to be 100% real. It's this song. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. This one. remember, mind you, these are scratch vocals, so you know they ain't been treated right. But you give it some time. Hold up.
when inside for sure. For just one more time, but you do really care. But I try when I'm drowning in you.
This is a mix. This is like temporary vocals. It's actually being fixed. But either way, the point is, bruh, this song is about to be fire. Once it's fixed and mixed and all of that nonsense, bruh, it's about to be real. Oh, and there's one more song on the album. This one I didn't even do. It's called Nail. I'm gonna play you a few. Well, that whole thing has been played before. Where is it? I have it.
You and me, a sad fantasy. What did I feel? If it wasn't real, then this has to be. Now I see you and me, a sad fantasy. What did I feel? If it wasn't real, then this has to be. And now for what we had.
So they remixed the vocals. Actually, they did a new mix of the song. But the point is, yeah, bro, we got a full album on our hands now. We're about to go track the last song on Thursday. We're gonna go down there and we're gonna record it, and that's it. We're gonna be finished with this freaking album. 5 songs. I'm really excited. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to all the subs. I'm gonna compress it into a zip file so then I can like upload it to a place. Then all you guys can get it. And I want you guys to all listen to the album and you guys can like explain to me what you think about the album. I would really appreciate it if you guys could do an early review and give me your honest feedback on every song. If you don't like it, I would rather you tell me that you don't like it so that way I can, you know, at least get that perspective. You know what I mean? I want an honest perspective. You guys can give that to me. I really would appreciate that. So I'm gonna zip the thing, give you the entire album. You know, it's not mastered, but it's close enough. It's good mix, most of the songs, and then you guys can give me like a full review. It's going on, man. Like I don't know if I'm gonna uninstall League, like 'cause I was feeling like uninstalling, and I feel like I don't need to do that. I feel like I'll just play the game whenever I feel like playing it. But right now, my main focus is going to be music, so I'll be doing a lot of music. But I'll still play every blue moon. Like it just won't be the same kind of way where it was before, where I'm 10 hours a day or whatever. I don't know how often I played. Where it's like all those crazy hours. Instead, it'll just be like, you know, a game here or two. But then mostly it's gonna be music and stuff. When Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite comes out, my dream is to have this album drop and like become so busy with music and doing music related things that I don't have time to play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because hopefully this will be like the launching point of my career. I'm hoping, as far as music is concerned. If that happens, then I won't have time for Infinite, and then I won't have to play. Not have to, but then I won't play it because you know I'll be more focused on what I think is my ultimate goal, and that has always been, which is music. So that's my dream, is that music takes off so much that I can't play Infinite because I just don't have the time or the resources. But if not, if this thing doesn't work out, then yeah, I'll be playing Infinite, and then y'all niggas will see me going in there, going ham, learning a new game and whatnot, and I'll stream that whole process. Because I feel like that's the one thing I wish I could have showed people with Marvel 3 was all the way I learned everything, because I had definitely a unique take on Marvel and Magneto and everything. Now, of course, everyone does all the stuff that I used to do, and they do even more stuff that I didn't do. But when I was doing it at first, like my hit confirms were unique. No one else was confirming like me. No one else knew. Like they just didn't have that tech. That was a me thing. And so I feel like I'll probably have that same kind of take on Infinite. So yeah, that'll be that. I'm gonna go get these tacos with my fam. When I come back, I'm gonna probably do some more music. I don't know. Or maybe I'll play me some Blood Moon because that game is fun. But I thank you guys for all watching this. I'll probably like record this and then edit it all down because there's no way. I wanted to make like an hour-long video, maybe 35 minutes, an hour. And right now I streamed for 2 hours. So it was 2 hours that I did this. So I could probably cut this down to like a smooth 30 minutes, I think. That's what I'm probably gonna try to do. All right, y'all. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for coming by. I'll be back later. Thank you guys for the subscriptions. Really do appreciate it. It looks like my camera froze. All right. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.